Michael Oliver has been called out. Michael Oliver has been exposed as a cheat according to 2 ex-referees. 2. And we're also going to take a look at what I consider to be almost a fraudulent take on a big penalty decision for Arsenal at the weekend. One that I didn't think was a penalty until I heard a very interesting take, and it makes complete and utter sense. And this is being ignored, and it's being brushed under the carpet. And again, we are being lied to. Please like, share, and subscribe. They're going to try and bury this content as far down as they can. They're in cahoots. We know they are. The media, all of them. They're in cahoots on this, and we need you to share it. We need you to put it in your group chats. Get as many people involved as you can. Because what I'm going to show you, in my opinion, is a bit mad. Now, the first thing I want to look at is this here. A referee will assess the incident based on the following criteria. This is taken from an extract, which is everything to do with an elbow. So getting a yellow card for an elbow. If you look into the law of fouls and misconducts, 3 things have to be assessed. Was it careless? Was it reckless? Or was there violent conduct or excessive force? And we'll go into each of those in a moment. But it's very, very important that we go through that first. Okay? Because all of them are fouls. But each determines how severe the punishment for the foul is. That should make sense. It makes sense to me. Hopefully it makes sense to you. Okay, they're all fouls. So the first criteria is careless. If the contact is purely accidental with no lack of intention or consideration for the opponent, no card is typically given, just a foul. If it's deemed reckless, if the player acts with disregard for the danger of an opponent, a flailing arm without malicious intent but still making contact, a yellow card must be issued for unsporting behaviour and dangerous play. So if you get caught really hard in the face with an elbow, but that they're not trying to elbow you, it can be considered reckless. And then you have excessive force and violent conduct. If the player deliberately uses their elbow as a weapon to strike the opponent, especially in the face and head, this is considered an act of violence and warrants a red card. So when you go back to the penalty that Arsenal fans wanted at the weekend, I said no. I said, no, it's not a penalty. He's gone to head the ball. He's brought his arms back. It's a natural motion, and he's headed the ball. On the stream we did on the Football Terrace, my main channel, if you want to come check it out, that'd be great and amazing. On Monday, we do a show called Six Sided. It's one of our podcasts. And it was a Newcastle fan who was on our show, who said, Terry, I know you're saying it's a natural action, but they give the foul everywhere else. If you go up to win a header and you elbow an opponent in the edge, if you do it if you're an attacker and you do it to a defender, every time it's a foul. If you do it in the middle of the pitch, it's a foul. And it got me thinking, you're right. Every other time a player accidentally elbows an opponent, a foul's given. And in fact, you see a fair amount of yellow cards issued for that exact foul. Now, I don't consider what happened at the weekend, Sunderland versus Arsenal, reckless. I wouldn't call it reckless because it hurt Marino. It didn't split his head open. Okay? It's not an act of violence. I don't think he's done it on purpose. Although in real time, people might have thought that. For me, it's careless. So my big question here is, it's still a foul. It's an accidental hit. So I would love, and this is what I mean by at least questioning. I've now changed my mind. It's a penalty. I've changed my mind due to the Newcastle fan that just made me rethink. Then I've looked at the law. This season alone, I think it's 14 players have been booked for a careless elbow of an opponent whilst challenging for a header. 5 of which won the header, but still elbowed the opponent. In fact, do you remember a very famous example? It wasn't an elbow, it was more of a hand. Man United scored away at Tottenham a few seasons ago, and Scott McTominay pushed his arm back to get Son off of his shirt and accidentally caught his face. And Man United's goal was disallowed by VAR. What's the difference? It's accidental, but it's still an infringement. This is what was said on Ref Watch about it. Take a listen to this.
Why Arteta would think that.
Okay.
Especially when you look at it in a slow motion, which you probably would have seen there with his screen on the bench.
Yeah.
But I think in real time, I don't think Ballard would have had the time to look for him. He hasn't looked round at him and, thrown his arm back.
So I agree with that completely. It's not intentional. It isn't violent conduct. 100% agree.
I think he's just kind of gone like that to head the ball and just get more leverage on the header away.
Yeah, so look, Arteta suggesting it might have been deliberate, as we saw there. Does VAR have a case to answer for?
Well, VAR looked at it, there's no doubt about that. I listened to them, but I don't think it's foul. I think he's gone in hard, he's used his arms for leverage. You know, you said earlier it's coming together. If you look...
So he said it doesn't think it's a foul, and he used his arms for leverage. Just remember that Dermot Gallagher has said this. The PGMOL have said this. They backed the on-field decision. They have backed it and cover it in mic'd up as far as we believe. So they've completely backed the decision. Just remember that. And this is one of those moments where you note it. And I got called out a lot of the weekend for the Liverpool disallowed goal. But people forget that this gets said. The arms are just for leverage. So what he's saying is when an arm is swung for leverage in a jump and you accidentally catch an opponent, it's not a foul. That is what he's just said.
Look at anything. Marino comes into him, Ballard's always there. He doesn't.
So Moreno's coming to him as well. So you can use the elbow. You can do this when going for a header. If the opponent also trying to get the ball hits your elbow, not a foul. Let's see whether that changes at any point soon.
Move towards Marino. He heads the ball quite clearly. There's a clash, and this is what we're on about. There's clashes all the time in football.
So this is what I would then be asking as the host. And Jay Bothroyd challenges quite a lot, to be fair. So I want to give him credit for that. But this is when the host should be saying, this is what Sky Sports should have ready to at least educate us and to challenge Gallagher. And they should be doing this on the Premier League, should be doing this on mic'd up. What should then happen is 3, 4, 5, 6 examples of exactly what Gallagher has said. Accidental clashes where a player has accidentally elbowed somebody whilst trying to win a header, trying to fight them off their shirt. Where the player's jumping up in the air straight and the attacker's jumping sort of more of a diagonal angle to both try and win the ball, and the guy that wins it accidentally elbows him. They want to show examples of that, where yellow cards have been given, where free kicks in dangerous areas have been given, and they need to ask what is the difference. They need to explain why one is a foul, why one isn't. Why if it's in the middle of the park, it's always given. Why if it's in the box, it's not. That's how you at least educate us. That's at least how we understand whether decisions are being made consistently. It's an absolute nonsense. And I apologise for maybe dismissing this a little bit at the weekend. Maybe I should have re-looked at it. I didn't think. But that's the way they gaslight you. All of us it happens to us. You go, yeah, it's accidental. It's not a foul. And then you realise they're booking people left, right and centre for it everywhere else on the pitch. It's crazy to me. Now, we spoke earlier about cheating. And we're going to go through this in a little bit more detail now. I want you to take a listen to this video. This, for me, is damning. It will get ignored by the mainstream media. I can't believe it's being ignored by the mainstream media. This should be back page headlines. This should be on the overlap. This should be on Sky Sports. This, for me, it's going under the radar. Such a big talking point. Take a listen here.
Even the referees now, and we're talking ex-Premier refs, are starting to get very dubious about Oliver and his footballing decisions, okay? This is an email to me and James, okay? Someone we know who's an ex-referee and an ex-assistant Premier League referee email, okay? And this is what he says in his email to us. I'm trying to read it. Does Oliver give Mo Salah the Doku penalty if it's the other way round? Of course not. And we know he doesn't disallow the VVD goal if it's a City player, because he has given the identical goal for City twice in the last 4 seasons.
And as we shared that the other day, you've got the Akanji goal that we mentioned already. And then, of course, there was the goal against Wolves as well. We've discussed these on the terrace before, so we know that they've been done. And we've gone through it, and it's very, very provable how similar these situations are. And we spoke about this last night here on Terry Fluers TV, that suddenly moving out of the way of the ball could distract a goalkeeper, is what they're saying, where prior to that, they've said it doesn't matter about distractions, it doesn't matter about anticipations or putting a goalkeeper off mentally, it's only if you physically touch them. So we have seen that, and this is 2 ex-referees, 1 ex-Premier League assistant referee sending this email. So let's get back to it.
Versus Fulham and Wolves. I think my point is proven once and for all. Best of luck, guys. You'll be playing with 10 men for a few games over the next run of fixtures to the new year. Mark my words. I've had former Premier League assistant message me during the game. It's the Man City Liverpool game. And during the game and say, no way, that's offside. He doesn't know what's going on, but he won't say the word cheat. That's the assistant. That's the Premier League.
So what you're seeing here is this is an ex-referee saying he's talking to another ex-referee. They cannot believe the decision. We have seen Mark Halsey. We have seen, of course, Keith Hackett. And a lot of the ex-referees who are not associated to the PGMOL anymore, okay, all say the same thing. Stonewall goal. No debate. For all the reasons we've given here. What you've now got in this scenario is this ex-referee saying, this is an ex-Prem referee that's saying this is dubious, this is strange, that so many of these decisions are going the way they are. He's stopping slightly shy of saying the word cheat, but massively implying it.
Assistant referee, he won't call Oliver out to be a cheat. But this is from an ex-referee, okay, sending me the message from another ex-assistant Premier referee. They know Oliver's cheating. They won't say it. They're all too scared. There's a little clique of them. And this guy, ex-referee, he's saying to me, Reno, you can put this out if you want. I can't afford to. You can believe me or not, guys. You can believe it or not. That is from referee.
What I find very interesting is I don't know who this gentleman is. I'm sure Arsenal fans are going to know who he is. I'm sure they are. But this is an Arsenal fan here talking about a Liverpool situation, and they're title rivals this year as well. And what we all want is consistent, good level refereeing. When that goal was disallowed at the weekend, I think each and every single one of us has felt miffed. All the ex-referees no longer associated to the PGMOL have all said, I can't believe it wasn't given. This ex-Premier League assistant referee says it's so dubious and strange. And I get why he feels it's strange, because we all know the precedents that have been set on these goals. We all felt it straight away. And yet, 10 seconds of a check, yet and you go back and listen to those words again. In the goalkeeper's eye, straight in front of the goalkeeper's eye line, yep, no doubt, absolutely, no deliberation, nobody challenging, nobody giving a difference of opinion. It was just so quickly and swiftly done. Now you've got ex-referees saying it doesn't feel right, there's something off here, or at the very least they're implying these things. And for me, I've said it before, I am not going to stop, and it is an agenda, because I believe there is massive incompetencies, huge arrogances. There are the accusations of corruption. I'm not saying they exist. I'm saying that it must be investigated. I'm saying that it must be looked at. I'm saying that it must be independently reviewed, that they are competent and fit for purpose, that there is no possibility of corruption. These things have to exist. But as ever, look, I want your thoughts. I want your opinions on this. Please leave us your comments below. Make sure you are subscribing to the channel. Hype it up because it's important to get it out there. But share it as much as you can. Group chats, Instagram, on X. Get it out there as best as you can for us, please. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.